We should be live. Hopefully, everybody can hear me. I'm going to be having a little background noise in the back. Let me know if it's too loud. But just a little cute little song I thought. So let me see who's here so far. Hopefully you can hear me. Like I said, hello Felicia. Hello Greg. Hello Judy. Hello Patsy. Thank you all for popping in so far. Let me know if you can hear me okay. Hello Anne. And let me know if the music is not too loud over my voice. Or if you can hear the music at all. And if you can hear my voice, let me know. Hello there, John. Let me put the volume down a smidge on that music. Just give me a second. There. Hopefully that's a little bit better on the sound. Hello there, Gina. Always an MVP. Thank you for popping in. Thank everybody for popping in here so far. I'll give about maybe 10 minutes or so for everybody to start to trickle in. Hopefully everybody's having a good day today. And again, just let me know with the little background noise if it's too much, too loud, or if it's distracting a little bit. I just it's something I found on Epidemic Sound, and I like it. One chubby kitty going on there. So hopefully everybody is doing well today. Hello, Tranquil. Thanks for popping in, Tranquil. Hope you're doing well with all of your kitties. I wasn't sure if I was going to do today's live or not, actually. Pollen season, right? I don't know about where you all live, but pollen is here. It is awful, and I have a hay fever, and it's just like, hello, Rev. Hello, Jennifer. Hope you all are doing well. Thank you all for popping in over these next little chunk of time here, these couple hours. Obviously, feel free to come and go as you please. We are going to have some fun stuff here, but we also, today will be some topics about some diseases that are pretty devastating, or can be. I've had experience, my wife and I have had experience with all of them, so, we'll see how it goes, but just some interesting topics, but I hope everybody is doing well. And let me know if anybody else has hay fever, because I tell you, if you have hay fever, you'll know where I'm coming from. Hay fever is awful. I have a horrible headache with the pollen, but it's like, I'm here. I'll get through these 2 hours, but it's a little tough. Hello, Rev. I'm not sure if I said hello to you, Rev, or not. Tranquil, FIP, I can maybe touch a little bit on, but it's not something, I might talk about a little bit about FIP, but I don't know, I know a little bit of FIP, Tranquil, but not a ton. I know it can be a very devastating disease also. Wherever, I appreciate your being here, and but if you're under the weather, I feel you. Hopefully you feel better though, Rev. It is not fun being just kind of feeling a little bleh. Gina, let me give you a moderator wrench, so if you can, or if you want to, you can obviously check out these other channels. I think you probably know most of them. I think I've seen you in Bert's Live, like you're in there. So, if you want to check out those other channels, then feel free to. Hello, L. George. Hope you're doing well. You're welcome, Gina. Yeah, Gina, you're an NC too? Oh, that's nice. Yeah, so I'm an NC. You're an NC. I know Nick from Whole Southern Foods. She's also an NC. What part of NC are you in, Gina? I know Nick is in the Charlotte area. My wife and kitties were in the Zebulon, Raleigh area. So where are you at, Gina? If you want to say, you don't have to say, of course. Yeah, looking outside, I can see the pollen just on the cars. It's like, oh man, pollen just. Ugh. Gina, you're just outside of Jacksonville in Hubert. Okay. Yeah, Gina, we used to live in the coastal area down in Hampstead, so kind of in between Jacksonville and Wilmington. So I'm sure you know of Hampstead. That's cool. So Rev, he's just saying he'll be doing his live tonight, but I think that I'm going to let Miss Rat host the show tonight. Nice, nice. Rev. Any topic tonight, Rev? Anything going on with that, or is it to be determined, or have you got something already figured out for tonight? Okay, I think I'm gonna stop the music because even though I like it, I can only listen to it for so long myself. I like the tune, but it gets a little annoying from time to time, so I'm gonna shut it off. You might hear it in the video eventually, but I had enough of that song. It kind of reminds me of like the Barney song or like those kids song. I used to work in an elementary school, and in some of the lower grades, and they repeat the same songs over and over at nauseum, and just eventually you just want it to stop. Hello, Jess. Hope you're doing well, Jess, today. Glad that you made it. Rev, so it's kind of like, yeah, okay, chill and chat, just kind of off the cuff. And that's, those are nice too. I don't really do a ton of research for these shows myself. Excuse me, myself. It's just a lot of the time, it's just kind of how the chat goes and, where we go. But I do have a couple of topics. And I'm sure it'll kind of weave back and forth as always. So I'm glad that you all have made it. I'll wait about another 3 or 4 minutes before we kind of dig into some stuff. Still got some folks, some friends popping in here. And I want to, with everybody that sent pictures, I want to thank everybody who has sent pictures on the Name Your Pet or Name the Pet segment a little bit later in the show. I just wanted to thank everybody who's done that. Now, I will also say on that, though, that because I have quite a few, everybody today is not going to be shown because there are actually quite a few of them. But as these lives continue to go on, let me make myself a little bigger here. As these lives continue to go on, everybody will have like their kitty or their doggy or eventually maybe like birds or whatever. They'll be in there. So because there was such a good response, I'm limited to like 5 per episode. So if your particular dog or cat is not here today, don't worry, they'll be in there eventually. Let me see what else is going on here. Let me just kind of reading. So there's Gina saying here, unfortunately, where I moved to 3 years ago, we had a severe feral cat problem. I took one in that is really sweet, and she's a mess, but getting better. Okay. Well, Gina, I'm glad that you're kind of helping that cat problem where you're at. That's definitely needed. We need more of that out there. Hello, Bailey. Hello, cat friends. Hello, Bailey. John, what are you saying? I apologize for a live stream during yours, Adam. It kind of came up unexpectedly there. John, as I said before, never, 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 never worry about if you're doing a live stream when I'm doing one. I'm perfectly good with that because, it gives people the opportunity or the option to go where they want. And, also the thing is, if it's somebody that you really like or somebody that you really want to catch their live, you can always catch it after the fact, right? I know it's not as fun being in the live because you're chatting with people in real time, right? But don't ever worry about that on my end. I'm perfectly good with that. I know some others, they say, hey, don't do it. But it's like, to me, it doesn't bother me. I'm perfectly good with it. So no worries on that, John. No worries at all. Let's see. I think I said hello to Jennifer, but if not, then hello, Jennifer. Thanks for popping in. So I'm not completely with it on this live since this pollen and hay fever kind of makes you a little loopy, and I need to shave. Getting some whiskers here. Two big whiskers. All right, John, I'm going to pop that off. That comment. I'll give a couple more minutes for people to say hello to each other, and then we're going to get to some good did you knows about our feline friends. Oh, yes, and happy St. Patrick's Day. If you're Irish, or if you celebrate, the holidays, it is St. Patrick's Day. So I guess go find a leprechaun or go find a pint of gold or a pint of Guinness or, whatever fancies you, I guess. Um, I think I have maybe a small amount of Irish in me. My wife, she is half Irish and she is half Polish. So, yeah. Anyways, Tranquil, you are half Irish. What's the other half? What's the other half? Tranquil. Oh, John, corned beef and cabbage. Oh, cabbage is awful. I'm sorry. Cabbage is ugh. Yeah. No, cabbage. Mm-mm. Lettuce, yes. Cabbage, no. The other half's half Irish and half English. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and let's get on to our next slide. Let me make this bigger. Let me take off my face altogether. All right. So a couple of I thought kind of interesting did you knows, and you can obviously read them, but I'm going to read them anyways. But you can obviously read them to yourself if you so desire, or maybe if you're just listening. So I thought the first one was really interesting. Actually, I did not know this, but apparently cats and dogs. No, it's not and dogs. Cats only. Cats walk by placing their back paws exactly in the footprints created by their front paws. I thought that was really unique. And I think it was called, when I was reading this and researching this, it was called God, what was it called? Direct registering or something, direct registering, something like that. And I just thought it was really interesting that their back paws go into the exact same position their front paws, and they just do this for basically stealth and basically like to keep quiet. And so I started watching my own cats when I saw this yesterday. When I did some of these did you knows, I started looking at my cats and just really like paying attention to how they're walking, and I did notice that their back paws are going exactly where their front paws go to. So I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. Obviously, if you have kitties, maybe even check your doggies, but watch as they walk and see if they're I'll get my hands here right. See if their back paws, go in line right where their front paws are. So I thought that was interesting to know. I never knew that. So I thought that was an interesting fact. So I thought that was kind of neat. Let's see this. So what is the second one is saying? The reason cats and dogs, and you probably noticed this, right? Your dogs, your kitties, they always are like they're like circling and circling and circling. They're going around in circles for like ever, it seems like. Apparently they're doing this because they're trying to figure out which direction the wind is going. And the reason they're doing that is instinct. They want to have that wind facing, they want to face the wind because then they can smell if they have any prey or if they have any predators, so that they'll be alert to it sooner. So that's why they do all that circling, is because they're trying to face the wind. And with their smell, with their sniffers, they're trying to either smell prey or smell predators potentially. So another one, I don't think I knew that one either, so I thought that was kind of interesting also. But I'm sure you've all seen, I mean, I don't know. I wonder, like dog folks, I can't say, I don't have dogs, so I can't say this, but people who have dogs, you probably see them circling and circling and circling and circling, right? I mean, and sometimes our cats, they circle and circle and circle. It's just lay down. We think they're trying to get comfortable or something, but and maybe it's part of it still, right? But I don't know. Again, I just thought that was kind of an interesting little did you know. Let's see what people are saying here. Judy is saying that her dogs do that a lot. Jennifer was saying that it was interesting to watch their cats, or she's going to maybe watch her cats now to see if that's going on. Yeah, John, they want to face food. And then Anne, my cats do it, especially outside. Yeah, well, outside would make more sense, right, Anne? Because they're out there in the elements, right? So they have the potential of catching prey, mice, birds, or whatever. Or they also have the potential with, I know up in where you live up in Turkey, not Turkey, Turkey. I think that's how it's pronounced. They have a lot of those predators, probably coyotes, and I think you said a lot of wild dogs. So it would make a lot of sense outside compared to inside. All right, let's see. I thought this was kind of a little kind of more humorous kind of did you know? So apparently back in 2013, hello, Jack and Bob. I appreciate you coming in. Friends, Jack and Bob is a channel that I've been kind of following for a while. They have Jack and they have Bob, two kitties. So if you could give them a warm welcome, I would appreciate that. And Jack and Bob, I'm also going to give you a wrench. I don't know if you've been in lives before, not. So you might know what the wrench does, you might not, but it allows you, if you want to check out other channels that are on this live stream. And I can vouch pretty much for all of these channels, Jack and Bob, great bunch of people. Excuse me. Most cat channels, but not all cat channels, but a great bunch of people. So if you want to check them out, feel free to. But yeah, I appreciate you popping in, Jack and Bob. And and Jack and Bob, if you don't mind, because I want to know your channel name. I like to try to know like people's name just so it's a little bit more like familiar. So my name's Adam. So if you want to give your name, you can. You don't have to, of course. I mean, we can just call you Jack and Bob, but I just like the familiarity of knowing another person's name because it's just, to me, it's like a bit of a stronger connection that gets built with it. But it's totally up to you, though. Obviously, totally up to you. I don't know if you want to do that or not. Let me just get a drink here. Thank you all for giving Jack and Bob some Joe. Okay, and I might have asked it before. I don't recall. It might have been on a comment. I think I might have asked you maybe a week ago or so, but I forgot. I'm sorry. I'm old and I have a bad mind. But I appreciate that, Joe. Yeah, Tranquil, we're good. All good on that. I know, Tranquil. You don't want to give your name. That's full. It's cool. We'll call you Tranquil. So no worries. So anyway, so Joe, we're just going over some did you knows. I'll leave that up on the screen for a few minutes. We already talked about the first one, or the first two, I mean. So, just some interesting did you know stuff. But I'm on the third one now. And especially that first one, Joe, if you want to read that first one about cats walking and how they walk, and maybe check if Jack and Bob do that, it could be something interesting, or maybe you already knew that. All right. So in 2013, a cat down in Mexico apparently ran for mayor. It didn't like officially run for mayor. It wasn't like on the whatchamacallit. It like wasn't on the ballot or anything, but it apparently it received a lot of write-in nominations, right? Like write-in ballots. But apparently, unfortunately, it was defeated by a giant rat. Now that's just me trying to be funny. The giant rat is like a politician, right? Because politicians are kind of rat-like a little bit. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say anything else about politicians. But unfortunately, the kitty, and I can't remember, I think the kitty's name was Mario, tried to run for mayor in Mexico, but was defeated by a giant rat, unfortunately. Quite sad. But I thought that one was a little bit more, a little humorous. And then our last one are ragdolls. Apparently, now I don't have a ragdoll, and let me make myself a little bigger here. Um, we don't have, and we've never had any like long-haired cats. All of our kitties have been short-haired. Um, so we don't have like any experience with long-haired kitties, but apparently ragdolls are the most popular breed in the US. And to be honest, that's kind of surprising. I don't think I wouldn't have thought that ragdolls would be the most popular breed in the US. I don't know why, but I feel like maybe that would be in other countries, like maybe in Europe or something. I don't know, but offhand question, and you all might, and if you do, my apologies. But does anybody have any ragdoll kitties right now? I think Anu from Michuka. I can't talk right now. Michuku. I think Anu. I think she has. I think Bless, who passed away, was a ragdoll. I think, and I think Grace is also a ragdoll. But does anybody else have any ragdolls or know of any ragdolls? Let's see here. So Jennifer, no, Jennifer doesn't have any rag dolls, and Judy would be the same. No, yeah, I don't know. That just surprised me about rag dolls being the most popular breed, right? I would think, um, let's see, Anne, don't know. So rag dolls, you might see one a little bit later, Anne, on the Name Your Pet if you're still there. But they're very fluffy. They're typically white, like white fur, or sometimes they can have like a cream fur also. But just long-haired kitties, usually very sweet, very affectionate. Their health can be kind of iffy sometimes, but you might see a rag doll a little bit later in the show. And then Felicia also was saying that no, she does not know of anybody that has ragdolls. And Joe also never had a long-haired kitty. All right. So that is it as far as our little did you knows. I'm going to keep an eye on the time because the topics that I'm going to talk about might take a little bit longer. So I just want to be leery of time and also just want to be leery of your time also. Um, Jess is saying that they are super relaxed and sort of go limp when you hold them. Okay. Anne was talking about one of her kitties, her old man, who I think was like 24, if I remember correctly, Anne, that had long hair. And then Tranquil is saying that her kitten, Mysteria, is the fluffiest cat that she's ever had. And also that Mango 2 and Elsa has long hair, or long-haired fluffies kitties also. Okay. And the old man was 24. All right. Wanted to make sure. My memory is not what it used to be. So getting old and senile, and well, losing some hair also up top. But it's the beauty of age, right? Hello, Nick. I hope your live went well, Nick. Thanks for popping in, friend. Obviously, I know everybody knows Nick. Great person. She does her Sunday lives a little bit after me. I think around 7 o'clock or so. I want to say Eastern Standard Time. I think, but I'm not sure about that. I don't know the exact time. But thanks for popping in, Nick. Hope you're doing well. All right. Let's see. Okay. So last week, I have a few new segments from week to week just to see kind of what works and what doesn't. So I thought that this segment went well last week, where it was about headlines kind of across the world or just headlines about cats. So I wanted to try that again, and I wanted to do that again and kind of see how it goes. So I'll give everybody a few moments here just to say their hellos to Nick. Give a few moments. Love that everybody always says hello to everybody else and is very courteous and kind in these chats. I do appreciate that immensely. I have been into some lives where it's very curt and very rude and just not very welcoming. But thankfully, uh, with these lives and a lot of the lives I've been to, other lives like in this modern day breakfast crew group, very kind, very friendly, very supportive people. So it's always appreciated. All right. So the first like little headline, and this happened actually about a year ago or so. Hello, Ray. Hope you're doing well there, Ray. Hope things are going well for you. Um, let's see. So you might have seen this headline before. This took about a year ago or so, and I think it still happens a couple of times. Unfortunately, I do not have a video for this one like I do for the next two. But I thought this was kind of fun that apparently there was a cat that was found on a plane that was in the air that was wandering around the cabin aisles on a flight. Now, I did read into this. I don't have any video, unfortunately, but the cat was in like one of those kind of like mesh backpacks, like one of those like space ones, right? That have like the two or the two, but like the window, like they're a space cat, and then underneath the window that has like some meshing, and apparently the bottom part of the meshing is very uh, it's not very I'm trying to think of the word. I'm sorry. It's not very stable, or it's not very strong. So apparently the cat was able to kind of paw out and escaped, and then started walking walking back and forth around the plane. And this was a big plane. Yeah, not very secure. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you. And somebody eventually saw it and alerted a flight attendant, and the flight attendant, got on the phone like, "Dude, there's a missing cat on here. It's like a black and white cat. Is this anybody's cat?" And the the cat parent said, "Hello, it's me." um, but I just thought that was kind of a funny headline. It's like, I would love to be on a plane, not with my own cats, but it'd be kind of cool if you had cats just walking around on a plane. That'd be kind of, I don't know. I don't know if that would be a good or a bad thing, but that'd be kind of interesting, I thought. I don't know. Ray, who are you washing? Is that Nori, I'm assuming, your doggy? Because you only got one dog, right? So, but anyways, I thought that was kind of interesting. Let me see what John is saying here. John's cat Figaro fell out of the overhead bin, oh my, on his way from Germany to DC. It was actually hilarious. And this was back in 1970. Wow, John, back 1976. Wow, that's a long time ago. That's a long time ago. I guess I don't think they put like animals, cats, dogs in bins anymore, like overhead bins. That's kind of surprising back then, maybe, but I hope Figaro was okay with that. Hopefully he was okay there. All right. Let's see. So another little headline that I thought was this is more of a funny one, was a cat trapped its fellow feline in a paper bag. And I do have a video on this one. Now, there's not going to be any sound in this video, so no sound. And because I want to be very careful with playing somebody else's video. I think as long as I'm talking about it or talking while it's going on, it's fine. But sound can be a little tricky, so I muted the volume. So there's not going to be sound, but there is going to be a visual. So let me share this. I think you all get a kick out of this. So let me share my screen real quickly, and let me show, which one is it? This one. I'm going to share. Okay. Everybody should see, and unfortunately let me see if I can make it. I should be able to full screen it. Well, I guess that really doesn't do anything. So that's as big as it's going to be. So again, this is just one cat trapped another cat, and we'll see how it gets out. And let me hit play. Like I said, there's not going to be any sound to this because I'm leery about sound. But as you can see, we got one kitty It's just sitting on this bag, and it looks like it's trapped its friend, or maybe it's its enemy. I don't know. Well, let's see see what happens. We got a smart kitty here. Well, it's breached. Oh, it's birthed. That bag birthed that other kitty. Can you imagine? That would be hilarious to see with those bags. All right, I'm going to stop sharing that screen. So I thought that was kind of cute. I thought that was kind of funny. That's that one kitty was was trapping its brother or sister or its mate on there. It's like, good grief, good Lord. All right, so that's that one. Now, this other one, let me put this back on here. All right. Yes, that kitty found a way out. Thank goodness were its claws, right? It got out. So this next one, again, this is another TikTok, no sound because I'm leery about sound. Is man fears the cat is plotting to, I guess I'll say kill. I mean, not to make him alive, after locking him in the garage all night. So that's the setup, that a man is fearing that the kitty is trying to do him in after he locked him in his garage all night. So let me share this one next. All right, let me get here. And let me take out this other stuff. All right, and let me play. So yes, point of view is this person. I don't know if you can probably read what he's saying, but basically he's saying that he was trying to, in his heater is in his garage, and he left this door open to turn the heat on. And he has a kitty cat, and the kitty cat closed this door on him, and he can't open it. It only opens on the other side. He can't open it from the side that he's in, as you can see. So you just have this kitty who's kind of looking at him from the inside, he's getting all warm and everything. And this poor guy is stuck in his garage because his kitty cat closed the door on him. And of course the kitty's looking all like, yeah, human, what are you doing? I'm over here. I'm good. You stay in that garage. And he had to wind up being in the garage the whole night until his family came home, because they were out late. But the kitty's just looking. He's like, yeah, I'm looking cute. That's right. I'm smarter than you. But anyways, I just thought that was kind of cute and kind of funny too. Let me stop sharing that, and let me take that off, and let me get back to the chat and see what's going on. So anyways, I thought that was pretty funny. Those cats are smart. They know what's going on. But I like that. All right. Okay. Let's see. So let me just see. Joe was saying cat knew exactly what he was doing. Probably. And then Jess, he thought that the guy locked the cat in the garage. Yeah, it's the other way around, Jess. That kitty, smart kitty. It's like, you go turn on the heat for me, and I'm going to lock you in that cold garage. Okay. All right. Let's get on to some topics now. Let me see what John is saying here first, because these are some heavy topics, actually. Figaro got locked in a basement bathroom at our Germany apartment for 33 days. Wow. He survived on toilet water. He was amazing. We were so glad to rescue him finally. We had no clue where he was. Yeah, John, it is amazing, isn't it, how long? That's a long time. Well, cats technically can go quite a while without eating, and they can go about 2 to 3 weeks without drinking any water. But, they can go close to a month and a half, 6 weeks, give or take, without having any food in their system. It's not very good, but they can do it. Unlike us humans, we couldn't survive, 33 days without food. I just don't think we could survive just on water. But that's an amazing story, John. You have some amazing stories. John, maybe something you want to do sometime just to kind of try it out with some of your videos, just a suggestion, of course, but maybe talk about, if you're comfortable, obviously, talk about some of your stories with some of these kitties, like this Figaro story, being in a plane and then being in a locked in a basement bathroom for over a month. I think people would be interested in hearing that, especially that it turned out well and the kitty survived. I just think that people would be interested in that. But just a suggestion. You don't have to, of course, but I think it would make for some interesting stories, and I think people would like to hear it. Because people like hearing surviving stories and cats and stuff like that. But just my own opinion on that. So yeah, definitely, Judy. Yeah, miracle that he lived. Yeah, but that's good to hear, John. That he was safe in the end. Probably a little scrawny and probably a little scared, but okay overall. Okay, now these are really big, potentially scary. I will be honest. These are scary diseases when you hear that your cat has hyperthyroidism, or when they have diabetes, they're diagnosed with it, or when they have kidney disease and or kidney failure eventually. Now, the reason I wanted to talk about these things today was, one, because of Pandora. I know a few people asked, like during the week, or I think on today's Nick's live, actually, it was Anne. Hello, Icon. Thank you for popping in, friend. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for popping in there, Icon. I had Anne ask me how Pandora was, and oh yeah, Icon. I need to shave. I'm getting some long whiskers. I need to kind of figure out where I'm going. I can't see well, so I need to figure out with my whiskers. I need to shave soon. Anyway, so people are asking how Pandora was, or kind of what's been going on with her. So to give an update for Pandora, and you might hear Rosemary because it is getting close to feeding time. So you might hear her chiming in from hi, honey. Hear her from time to time. I would love to let it grow, actually, Icon, but my wife hates the beard. She says it's all itchy. So I kind of got to go with what she says, that whole happy life kind of thing. So I gotta do that. Give me 1 second. Let me just doing something real quickly. Okay. So anyways, like I was saying, yeah, she's loud, Jess, because she's deaf. She can't hear, so she doesn't have volume control, so she doesn't know how loud she's actually meowing. But anyways, so with Pandora, we did get back her thyroid, her T4 level, and it was back within the normal range, which is good, right? But it's kind of bad because with her thyroid level being back in the normal range, this should mean that she should be gaining weight again, because with her thyroid level being up, then that means that her metabolism is going so fast. And I'm going to get to this more in a second, but it's going so fast that she's eating more, but she's burning up more calories. She's burning up what she's going through eating. So she's not getting any of the nutrients in her food to maintain or to gain weight. However, saying that, we weighed her yesterday. My wife did. And on Thursday, she weighed about 7.6 pounds or so. And this was a 10-pound cat a couple years ago. So she was down to about 7.5 pounds on Thursday. My wife weighed her yesterday, and she was actually up to almost 8 pounds, which is good. So if her thyroid level is getting within normal range, and if her weight is going up, then hopefully, at least at the moment, we have her thyroid level in check with her medication. Now, saying all this, we still don't know if there is something else that might be going on. So in about 2 weeks, we're going to be seeing like an intern specialist to see if there is something else going on besides the thyroid. Is there cancer? Because it's a potential still. Is it kidney disease? Because kidney disease gets masked by hyperthyroidism. That's why hyperthyroidism is scary, because is it just straight up just the hormones being out of whack? Or is it actually kidney disease that's like hiding under the hyperthyroidism? That's where it gets scary. And that's where you just don't know. And I'm going to talk about, this is one of my topics too, is kidney disease. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But overall, though, it was good to see Pandora gaining a little bit of weight. She's acting a little bit more normal. She's got her shaved belly. But I think overall, hopefully, we are on the right track, and she is doing better overall. Knock on fake wood here. And we'll do everything. I guess my wife is saying, that's her, Catherine Holmes, that she's outside and she is sunning herself. So and that's a little bit more normal Pandora behavior when we have the screen porch open. She goes out there and she suns herself. So hopefully we're on the right track. Because I tell you what, watching a cat shrink, and I'm sure a lot of you have seen this with your kitties and dogs. Watching a cat just, their waistline get smaller and smaller and smaller is like, and not knowing like what's going on or what to do, or, where are we? It's horrifying, right? That you're doing everything that you can, but you don't know what's causing this issue. And you're just watching them get smaller and smaller and smaller, especially if you don't know why. That's the hard part. If you don't know why. Tranquil. Seen it more than once. And Joe, it is heartbreaking. Absolutely. John, these are all the things that we all worry about. Yeah, absolutely, John. So that's why I wanted to talk about these three things today. I felt like, just with what's going on with Pandora, I felt like it was important. And those who are new, like Joe, for example, and anybody else, as you all know, this isn't really just my live. This is kind of our live. So as I'm talking, if you have anything like to say, to ask, to add, feel free to. If you have something that maybe I'm not covering, or if you have something that, you want me to maybe speak about, or as a chat to talk about, then absolutely feel free to. Because I want this chat to be as interactive as possible, because it's boring just listening to one person talk. At least to me it is. And it's a lot more engaging having an engaged chat that might have a different opinion or might want to add something to it. So always, you're more than welcome to have your piece, and I'll put it up on the screen and we'll discuss it. Like now I'm seeing here with Jess and Ray, that Tabbykins is, because Tabbykins is what, like 2021, Jess, I think. And Jess, you might have said this before. I'm sorry if I don't remember, but I think Tabbykins has kidney disease, or maybe kidney failure at this point in time. If you want to put that in the chat, please do. But you don't have to. But I think 19-ish. Okay, so we're 19-ish. And do we have kidney issues? I'm just trying to remember. I think we talked about this before on somebody's live, maybe one of mine. Just trying to remember. But and then once Jess puts that up, I'll highlight it. But again, I just wanted to talk about these three things. Okay. So if you, and he had one value, bun. Okay, so kidney related then. Bunatine, I think it's bunatine, bunatine. I think that has to do with the kidney value, from what I remember. What am I saying again? I'm sorry. losing track for a second. If you've been around enough kitties, and if you've had more than one, two, three kitties, chances unfortunately are very high that eventually you're going to face a situation where you're going to have a kitty that's eventually going to get either hyperthyroidism, that's going to get diabetes, that's going to get kidney disease, possibly might get both. Because like I was saying earlier, these diseases, let me put this on here. These three diseases, they often mirror each other in their symptoms. And it's not unusual for them to also come with each other. You see what Jess is saying here. But his thyroid is good and his glucose were good. So pretty much every test. Well, okay. So that's good news, Jess, that his, no, hopefully nothing going on with, excuse me, diabetes, and hopefully nothing going on with his hormone levels with his thyroid. But like I was saying, these three diseases, they mirror each other. And that's what makes them very tricky and very hard to kind of figure out what is going on. If you didn't know, I'm going to kind of go through some of the symptoms of all of these. If you didn't know, because they're pretty similar, most of them. With hyperthyroidism, some of the signs that you would start to see for a kitty that's having a hyperthyroidic, having a thyroid issue, is increased eating. Out of nowhere, their appetite is like going through the roof, and they're eating. But along with all of this eating, they're losing weight also. Another sign, classic sign usually with hyperthyroidism, is they can be a lot more active. Now, this activity could not necessarily it couldn't mean just they're moving around a lot. They're being more active, like, they're running all over the place necessarily. It could be they're more vocal also, that they're talking to you a lot more. And that's because their metabolism, which is, say it's like, normally I'll use this finger. Normally it's going like this, right? Let's say this is a normal metabolism, it's a pretty even number, or not number, but pretty even like circle here. But when they're hyper, that metabolism, that hormone is just doing this, right? Their metabolism is it's picked up and it's going so fast now. And then they have to eat more. But the problem is they're eating more, but their body, because they are eating so much, or because their metabolism is so high, they're burning through their food much quicker, and then they're losing that weight. So with Pandora, what we were doing the last week or two is we're feeding her as much as we could. Hello, Cool Gamer. Thanks for popping in, friend. Cool Gamer, we are just kind of talking about very potentially deadly diseases that cats can get, and kind of the early signs of them at this point. But I appreciate you popping in, friend. So excuse me. So what we're doing with Pandora over the last couple of weeks, we are feeding her as much as she can. I know that you're told not to feed a cat like carbs, right? That's kind of the classic thing with a lot of these diseases. Let me see what Jess is saying real quickly. So that they've dealt with hyperthyroidism and kidney failure in several kitties over the year, but never diabetes. Yeah, I'm going to get to diabetes because we have a diabetic cat who's been diabetic for 8 years and who's going strong. And yes, kidney stuff can cause thyroid issue, and yeah, all of them can kind of coalesce with each other. And that's the scary thing. The kitty gets one of them, and they're more susceptible to getting the other two. And with hyperthyroidism, a kitty can get hypertension too. So that's another thing that you got to watch out for. But I'll talk about that in a second. But anyway, so you're not supposed to give cats carbs, right? With this, you're supposed to be protein. However, the other kind of side of the coin, when you do a little bit more research and you read this stuff up, if a cat is losing weight, your goal is trying to feed them as much as possible, whether it's protein or carbs. Of course, you still want protein, obviously, but you also want carbs too. And the reason is if they're eating more, let me put it this way, to make this make sense for everybody. The more that the more food calories that they're getting, it's going to somewhat kind of at least I'm sorry, I've lost my train of thought here. The more calories that they're able to take in, it's going to take them a little bit longer to burn those calories. Hopefully that makes sense with that. But that's kind of the deal with Pandora and with hyperthyroidism. You're told only to do a protein, but it's not a bad idea to get some carbs in there too, and just to get as much food in them as possible. Because with this running clock going so fast, if they're getting more food in there, it's going to take longer for that stuff to get burned, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody. And if not, just let me know, and I'll try to maybe explain it in a different way. Now, on the flip side of hyperthyroidism, and even more dangerous actually, is hypothyroidism. Between hyper and hypo, now hyper is this, right? Hyper fast, right? That metabolism is going like fast. Hypo, your metabolism is slowing down. Now, typically with hypo, cats will gain weight, yes, but because their thyroid now is producing those hormone levels at a slower pace, excuse me, they are more apt, or more they have a higher potential to get coma. They can go into a coma. They can get seizures. They can get strokes. They're more inclined to get those kind of things. So between hyper and hypo, it's much better. Excuse me. It's much better for your kitty to be in the hyper range than the hypo range. It's better for it to be overclocking because it's easier. Hypothyroidism is deadly. Hyper can be too, but a cat can be hyperthyroidic for a much longer period of time without having like long-term effects. Hypo, dangerous. It's the same with diabetes, and we'll get to that. Having like having like a lower glucose count compared to a higher glucose count. And we'll talk about glucose in a second here. I'm sorry, I'm a little warm with my hay fever that I got. But anyways, so that's kind of a couple other things to talk about with hyperthyroidism too. Is let me see what Judy's talking about here. She had a diabetic kitty. He lived 9 years after being diagnosed. Beautiful Judy. And yep, he had 2 shots, those insulin shots. Yep. I'll talk about diabetes in a moment here, and that's another tough one. A couple other symptoms with kitties who have the hyper and really hypothyroidism. A couple things you'll notice is that their fur starts to get like a little. Hello, Bert. Thanks for popping in, friend. Hope you're doing well. Bert, right now we're just talking about some deadly kitty disease, and dogs also, Bert, can get these diseases too. These are not cat only diseases. Dogs can easily get hyperthyroidism. Dogs can easily get diabetes and kidney disease. So these, I know you have your 2, Bert, El George. I know you have Evie. So, if those who have dogs also, Rev, if you're still in here, just kind of hanging in the back with your doggies, Athena and Nanuki, they can get these also. So this isn't just cat related. This is also dog related too. Dog information also. It just could be important. But what was I saying? So with their fur can get dull. It can get matty. It can get greasy. Their fur just doesn't look well. It looks like they're not grooming themselves. It looks just off. With cats and dogs, their fur is usually pretty kind of like shiny, right? And it's kind of smooth. When they're having this disease, it just gets unkempt, and it looks greasy, and it feels just off. It doesn't feel the same. Excuse me. So, in saying all this, if you notice your kitty and or doggy is eating more, but just looks skinnier, um, is drinking more, and with that is peeing more, is more vocal, is their mat, their fur looks matty or greasy, then please, 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 please go to your vet and get a T4 test. Probably get the whole thing, the whole blood work thing, all the whole panel. I know it can be expensive, but prevention is important because the sooner that you get on these things, the sooner that this stuff gets diagnosed, usually, not always, but usually the better, the longer term prognosis becomes. Because hyperthyroidism, it's not a death sentence, right? Now, there are a couple options with hyperthyroidism. Now, the main one, let me see if I can kind of get this on the screen. Now, there are a few ways to deal with hyperthyroidism. There is diet. You're going to get foods that are low or have either low on iodine or have no iodine. That's one option. I don't like that option because for us, we have the 9 cats and it's not fair because they're free feed. It's not realistic for us to have to isolate somebody like that. So we don't do the food option. And I think the food option is kind of like, anyways, I mean, to be honest. But then there's the medical option. And this is I can never pronounce this medicine, but filamazole, I think it's called filamazole. And what it does, it gets the thyroid kind of under control, or at least it's supposed to. I mean, we have Rosemary, who's been like a yo-yo recently. Her thyroid level goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down, right? Two other options besides meds and diet is the surgical route, where they cut out the thyroid. Because here's something that people don't know. Once a kitty or doggy, once they are diagnosed with hyperthyroidism, it's a tumor that's in here, right? Where their thyroid, because their thyroid is here, and it's a tumor. And the thing is, the tumor, once it starts growing, a lot of the time it's non-cancerous. It's non-malignant. It's not cancerous, but it is still growing slowly, usually very slowly, but it still is a tumor. Now, eventually that tumor might become cancerous. So then you got, a real problem. But another option that people do is a surgery. They cut out the thyroid. There's 2 lobes, one on each side. And let me just quickly check to see what Jess is saying here. Bye, Patty. Thanks for popping in. I hope you do well. Hope you have a good night, Patty. Jess was saying that our vet does a whole panel with CBC, Chem, T4, heartworm test, feline, FIV, urine, and fecal. Yep. That's a good vet, Jess. Jennifer is saying that she has hypothyroidism and they had half of my tumor removed. Yeah. So Jennifer, you would know then better than most. The problem with that, and maybe it's different with humans, but the problem is that with a cat or a dog is if they only take out half of it, like one lobe, there's still going to be, that's going to be Rosemary since she's getting fed. There's still going to be the other lobe that's in there. And the problem is that still is a tumor that's growing too. So that's why with surgery wise, it's not, it used to be like the gold standards, having a thyroidectomy for cats, but not anymore, because there's one more treatment that I'm going to talk about in a second. Because the problem is if they only leave, if they leave one lobe, what's going to happen with the other lobe, right? Or they have to get all of it. And if they miss a little of it, then it's still in there and it's still growing as a tumor. So that's the problem with the surgical route. Plus there's anesthesia, and, anything can happen with a cat or a dog under anesthesia. They may not wake up. I mean, anesthesia has its pros and cons. So Let me check here, Joe. What are you saying? Are there any supplements that can help prevent? Okay, so this is the tricky thing, Joe. Uh, there is a there's been some recent studies when it comes to cats and all of these diseases, hyperthyroidism, diabetes, kidney disease. There are obviously a lot more um, uh, diseases, but these are kind of like the big ones besides like cancer. But these are like your big, more common ones, or becoming more common ones. Now, unfortunately, like I said, there are links that dry cat food can cause all of these issues. Not will, but can. It's kind of like how the cat is, what they're predisposed for, kind of like in their genetics, right? Like humans. Some of us are more I can't talk right now. We're more we have a more likelihood potentially of cancer or something like that, because maybe it's in our family, it's in our genes, right? It's going to be the same with cats. It's kind of what's in their genetics a little bit. But so the food that we give our cats can cause these issues potentially, and that's dry food and that's wet food. There is some newer studies going on that are showing there is like a chemical in the canned food, and it doesn't matter which canned food you buy. You could buy the 59-cent canned food or the $4 canned food. Makes no difference. There's a chemical that's lining these cans that is starting to get linked, especially to hyperthyroidism, but to all of these. So, that's like, then what do you do? Hello, Alan. Thanks for popping in, friend. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Hope you're doing well, Alan. I'm glad you pop in. So then the question is like, what do you do, right? Do you not feed your cat dry food or wet food anymore? Do you make home food, home meals, right? Home cooked stuff? Do you do raw? I'll be honest, I'm not sure. The thing is, if you're making your own food, you got to make sure that your cat or dog gets all of the nutrients, all of the amino acids, all of the supplemental stuff, everything that they need in their diet. So it's very tricky. It's very tricky. So Joe, to kind of answer your questions, there's not really any supplements that can prevent it. And there's not really any supplements that can help support a kitty with it either. So that's what I'm going to talk about. The last thing that you could do. Hello, Michiku. How you doing, Anu? Hope you're doing well, friend. Glad that you could make it. The last, and now what is considered kind of the gold standard with that'll pretty much 97% of the time take out this issue altogether for cat, is what's called the I-131 treatment. Now, the I-131 treatment is it's a dose of radiation. The kitty or doggy will get a one-time shot that is radioactive. It goes underneath into the bloodstream. So it goes into their skin, it goes into the bloodstream, and it gets up to where the thyroid is, and it eradicates all of that tissue. It completely destroys all of that tissue. There really is no con. Well, there is one big con. The pros, it's pretty much 98% effective first time shot. A cat will not have thyroid issues anymore. So that's good. The con, the cost can be very expensive. It can be, depending on where you live, a couple $1,000 at least dollars, because the shot costs a lot, and also because the kitty has to stay in the hospital quarantined for about 3 to 5 days or so. And the people that go in to check up on them, they have to get in their radiation suit because the cat is radioactive during that time frame, for like that 3 to 5 day time frame. Even when you bring the cat home, they're still technically radioactive. And because of that, you have to have the cat quarantined in a room by themselves for about 2 weeks or so, because their poop is still radioactive and their pee is still radioactive. So it's recommended that you get a special type of litter that can get flushed down the toilet. And you got to kind of like be protective yourself, wear some gloves, all that kind of stuff when you scoop their litter. And then after about that 2 weeks, they go back in, they get tested to see where their radiation levels are. And if they're low enough, excuse me, if they're low enough, then they can be let back out if you have multiple cats, in your home. So those are your 4 options: medicine, diet, surgery, and the I-131 radiation treatment. Now, on a personal note, our plan is, if there is nothing else going on with Pandora and it is completely thyroid, we are going to start taking the steps to get her treated with the radioactive, with the shot. That is our goal. Now, we have Rosemary, right, who's eating right now. She also has her thyroid disease, but we feel a little bit different with Rosemary because she's older. She's like 17. Pandora's only 13. So, and Rosemary seems a little bit more controlled. She has her ups and downs, but just Pandora and her weight loss. So that's what we're kind of doing. Alan, let me see. What are you saying here? My dogs are covered in weird lumps. Dakota has them removed a couple of times. Alan, are they like fatty lumps? I wonder if they're like fat, not fatty tumors, but kind of just like a fatty, like a fat cell that's non-cancerous, but just like fatty tumor. Yeah, I guess it's fatty tumors. Let me know in the chat, Alan, on that. Okay. So that's hyperthyroidism. And let me check the time, because I do want to be careful on my time. I don't want to go too crazy on the time. Okay. If you have any other questions on hyperthyroidism, please let me know in the chat. But I'm going to get to the next one, which is a big one, which is diabetes. Alan, they said they would just keep on coming back. Okay. Well, I mean, I guess if they can just remove them, then I guess that works, right? How old is Dakota, Alan? Just out of curiosity, with the doggy. Okay, diabetes. Now, Judy, I know you said that you had a kitty who had diabetes, and you had to give her insulin shots, or him insulin shots, for I think it was like 9 years or so. So I'm in the same boat as most of you know, or as some of you know. We have our cat named Zelda. Zelda is 19. Zelda has been diabetic for about 8 years now, and she also gets her insulin shots twice a week, or twice a day too. Thankfully, she is good with it. Alan, let me see what you're saying. So I had a coworker with kidney stones. Ugh. Was it a male coworker? Could you imagine, guys, if you had kidney stones, and you know where they got to pass through, right? Pain. Can you imagine how painful that would be to have kidney stones, especially like the bigger ones, and where it's got to go through? Ugh, painful. Let me check out what Rev is saying. Our Athena got skin tags and had some removed, but they are not cancerous. As long as she's comfortable, we're fine. That's good to hear, Rev. Yeah, I got a skin tag actually on my nose. I'm not going to show it today, but I've had one my whole life. It's on my nose. When I was working in the school system and I had my glasses off, it's easier to see. And they said, kids said, "What is that on your nose?" I said, "That's just my twin. He never grew. He became a little skin tag. That's his tiny little body." But yeah, I know about them skin tags. All right. So diabetes. Now, here's kind of the weird thing. Diabetes have a lot of the same symptoms, some of those early signs that hyperthyroidism has. So If a cat is drinking more water is really your biggest one. If we're drinking more and if we're peeing more, those are usually your like kind of your telltale signs that we might have a diabetes issue going on. Uh, it's a little easy. I mean, none of them are like difficult. Let me see. Was Anne? It's okay. Anne, I appreciate you popping in. Have a good rest of your day. A good night, I should say. And thank you for popping in. And we'll see you later. Take care, Anne. All right. So what was I saying? Kind of the nice thing with diabetes is the testing is very simple. Um, a vet they'll test what's called like the glucose level, and they will see if usually they'll get a pee sample also, and they'll see if it's elevated, and that's usually the telltale sign of diabetes. So that's kind of the easy thing with diabetes. It is easy to diagnose. It is difficult to manage though. Another kind of early sign that's maybe sometimes not noticed as much is with diabetic cats, with my diabetic cat at least. And Judy, you might you let me know if you saw this in your diabetic kitty also. They tend to get dandruff. So their coat becomes like a little again, not greasy, but the coat just becomes a little it just seems like they have more dandruff. And you'll notice that when you brush them, right? They just have a lot of dandruff in their skin. It just becomes kind of dry and flaky a little bit. So we noticed when our Zelda, for her, when her glucose, when her insulin might need to be upped a little bit, we can usually tell when we're brushing her out and we're notice that she's having some more dandruff more than usual. We're like, maybe we need to do a glucose curve on her, and I'll say what that is in a second. But we might have to do a glucose curve to see where she's at and to see if we might need to up her insulin a little bit. But they get that dry skin and they just have a lot of dandruff with them. Judy, I never noticed his coat. He was cream colored. Okay, it might be harder to see on a lighter kitty because dandruff, it's white, right? So it's going to stand out more on a darker haired kitty cat. Okay, so diabetes can be scary because, and let me see what Judy is saying, that I noticed he was drinking a lot more and started to lose weight. Yeah. So the same with our Zelda. She drank a lot, she peed a lot, and she was slowly losing some weight. I think what scares a lot of people with diabetes is what has to be done. Not if you want to have it done, it has to be done. They have to get insulin somehow, whether it's through the standard liquid like the Prozinc stuff, or it's like human insulin where you shoot it subcutaneously in their skin between their shoulder blades, usually, not always, but they have to get insulin in some way. Now, John, if you're still here, I know that Doris and Meow, MAU. Sorry, I'm horrible with names sometimes, but I know that kitty. I think he gets like a pill, I think you said, which I hadn't heard of. So that's kind of cool. But they have to get that insulin. There's no questions. If they do not get that insulin, then they will not live. They will have a long, sometimes a short, actually, miserable ending. Because, with diabetes, you're not producing insulin anymore. Maybe y'all know that, maybe you don't, but with insulin, you need insulin to live. Because it's just one of those things that just, without insulin, you're not going to live because it's going to control like sugar and it's going to do all that stuff. George, let me see here. A little off topic, but that's perfectly good because that's what we're here for. So what about a cat that pulls his fur off? That could be a few things, George, or L George. That could be a nervous habit. That could be a stress. Sometimes a cat that does that, they could have fleas. They might have a tick. They might have something called alopecia. Alopecia is basically where they'll have like a lot of licking, and eventually they'll start chewing their fur off too. Definitely something to check in with a vet on, because there are medicines that will help that. Whether if it's like a neurological thing, I hate to say like a mental thing, but kind of a mental thing where they have like some kind of stress or anxiety. Cats and dogs, they can go on, excuse me, they can go on basically antidepressants. Um, excuse me. It's not that common, but they do have antidepressants, anti-anxiety pills for cats and dogs. So if it's like a mental thing or like a neurological thing, they might try them on like shoot, what is it? SSID, I think they're called. Basically just like an antidepressant. Now, if it's not neurological, or if it's not like a mental thing, if it's just something else going on, maybe like a irritated skin, or like dry skin, perhaps, then usually it's like some kind of cream, some kind of like not antibiotic, like a cream of some sort, yeah, a cream of some sort usually, but not always. But that's usually the thing with cats pulling their fur off. So hopefully that answered that question, George, and just let me know if you have another one. Jess, insulin injections can be scary for people to do to their cats, and unfortunately at work we get some. Absolutely. So I think that's the biggest. I'm going to keep that up for a second, Jess. I think when people get told like, hey, your cat has diabetes and they need insulin shots, they're like, no, I can't do this. But it's like, yes, you can, and you have to do this, and you will do this. So kind of like Bert said for a while there, you can and you will. You can and you will, because your cat needs you. You need to get over your fear, and you need to do it. Practice on an orange, practice on something until you're, comfortable enough to do it on your own cat. So you have to do it. It's really not that hard. It really isn't. Now, it's going to depend on the cat. Some cats are a little bit more, let's say, spicy than others. I'll use that term, spicy. But they will get used to it. And the thing is, with a lot of the things with medication, whether it's insulin shots, whether it's sub-Q fluids, whether it's just a pill, if you as the human are stressed out or nervous, then your cat or dog, they will know that, and they will feed off of your energy that you are giving to them. So you need to be cool, you need to be calm, you need to be collective, because then they will feed off of that energy too. And they say, hey, this is no big deal. I'm just getting this little shot, or I'm getting this little pill, and it's no big deal. I guarantee you that will help. So if you ever have to pill your kitties or doggies, or, God forbid, one of your cats or dogs get diabetes and you have to give them insulin and you have to give them the shot, stay cool, stay calm, stay collective, and breathe, because they will get off of that energy. What's Ray saying? I know Ray's saying something. They're always feeding off of my energy, draining me. They're sucking your soul out, right, Ray? Sucking your soul out. Another very, very, very important thing with diabetes, and something that I would highly recommend if you ever have one of your cats or dogs ever become diabetic, and this is important too, to learn how to do, is blood glucose curves. Now, a blood glucose curve, it checks their glucose throughout like a 12-hour period. You can have a vet do it, of course, but why? They're going to charge you a lot of money to do that in a 12-hour period. Or you can also have them do what's called a fructosamine check, a fructosamine test, which basically within like a two-week period, it kind of tells you where their glucose is, like average over a period of 2 weeks. But it's an expensive test. There are human glucose machines, and there are animal ones. One of the best animal ones, and the one that we use, is called Alpha Track. I'd highly, recommend it if you ever happen to have a kitty or doggy that gets diabetes. Alpha Track, they're pretty easy to use. They're fairly accurate, and you got to do these curves. And what you're doing is, it starts, whenever you wake up 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, and every 2 hours, you're checking their glucose. And what's supposed to happen, like before they get their insulin shot, their glucose is their level is gonna be a little high because they don't have any of that insulin in them. And then they get fed, and then they get their insulin. Let's say you do your first shot at 7 o'clock, right? 7 o'clock in the morning. They're probably going to be a little higher. Let's say you give their insulin and feed them at 8 o'clock, right? And then you're going to test again at 9 o'clock. So it's every 2 hours. Their glucose level might still be a little high, and that's okay. And then at 11 o'clock, you should see it start to go down. And then at 1 o'clock, it's going to go down even more. Between like usually 1 to 3 o'clock, about 4 or 5 hours after their insulin shot is usually when their glucose number is at its lowest, and it's in what the normal cat's range would be, which is like 80 to 100, 80 to 120, somewhere in that area. It could be even lower. And then at 3 o'clock, you're going to test them again, and then it's going to start to spike up a little bit because that insulin is kind of slowly getting out of their body a little bit. It's being secreted through their pee. At 5 o'clock, obviously, it's going to be a little higher. And then depending on whenever you pill again and feed, whenever you get their shot again and feed them, at that 7 o'clock, it's going to be up a little bit. And then it's going to go down. So you want to have a curve that kind of looks like let me get my finger here, like a U shape, kind of, that's the wrong way. So it's kind of going to be like a U shape. You're going to go up, and then you're going to go down. And then it's going to slowly start to kind of climb. And that's horrible. I'm sorry. But it's kind of going to be like a U shape, basically. Now, another real quick thing. It's already 5:20. But again, like hyperthyroidism, it's better. It's not great, but it's better for the numbers to be high than to be low. Because, again, a cat can survive longer with a higher glucose number than a lower one. So it's better to be hyperglycemic than to have like a lower glycemic level. What happens with lower glycemia or lower glucose levels is again, you have a chance of the cat going into a coma. And that's not a pleasant thing. There was once or twice where it seemed like Zelda was just, because you get like this like glassy-eyed stare, it's like you're there but you're not there, the cat or the dog, and you can kind of wave your hand in front of their face, and they're not really, it's just, they're not there because it's like their blood sugar is so low, kind of like humans, right? If you've ever been around diabetics and they have low, or if you're a diabetic yourself, and if you have low blood sugar, you're not there, right? You have no energy. You can barely move, you can barely walk, you can barely stand, you can barely talk because your blood sugar is way too low. So it's recommended, and we have it, to have some I'm going to script the name because I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a syrup. I want to say it starts with a Karo, Cairo syrup. So we've only had to do this once and we tested her also. Just to make sure. We gave her a little bit of this syrup, and what this does, it's like sugar, right? Basically, it spiked her glucose level, but it got it up to where she was like functioning. That was scary, but it got it back up to where she was like, okay, she's acting normal again. She's not looking like she's basically dead on the ground. So again, hypo can be very scary compared to hyperglycemia. But that's it with diabetes, because I do want to get to some other stuff. I think it's Ray, Cairo. I think it's Cairo syrup for the baking. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. We have it in stock always, just in case, and we have to get rid of it every so often because we check it and see that it's expired. Yeah, my wife is saying Cairo syrup. That's it. I probably have to check to see right now if it's expired. It lasts a long time, but it's something we always have in stock just in case for Zelda and for her diabetes, because I'm telling you, it's scary seeing a cat that's not really just not there, just glassy eyed and just like, very dull and just not there. So if you have any questions about diabetes, please let me know in the chat. I'll give a few moments of that, and then we'll get to kidney disease. Again, I'm not an expert. I'm not a vet, but I do have, 30 some odd years of living with cats and being around them. I do have currently nine. Two out of the nine are hyperthyroidic, and one is diabetic. And we had one that we fought with kidney disease. We fought with her with kidney disease for a long time. So, I speak on experience with all these things. And that's one thing that you can't ever replace is experience of any kind. Okay, I'm going to start talking about kidney disease. Now, here's the thing, kind of similar to the other two, right? Kidney disease, some of the early symptoms are very similar to the top two, to diabetes and to hyperthyroidism. You will see sometimes increased eating, but weight loss. You will see increased drinking, right? Because the kidney is not functioning properly anymore. And here's the thing. Here's the scary thing about kidney disease in cats. I'm not sure. I don't know about dogs, but at least in cats, there is testing for kidney disease. Yes, there is actually a special test called the IDEX SDMA test, which is standard for like your full blood work, like your full blown blood work. It'll be part of it. However, even with this specialized IDEX, I see my wife is telling me about my gibberish dictionary. Yeah, y'all can talk about that in the chat. But even with this IDEX SDMA testing, this kind of like special tests, and Jess, you probably know about this also, being in that field. It only will show up that there's like a kidney issue when the kidneys are already at least, I think it's like 25 to 35% shot. So that's pretty scary. So, this test, it is more advanced, but it'll pop up. It'll start to pop up, but it'll pop up when there's already, the kidneys are already at 30% in like failure, or 30% basically not working anymore. It's a heck of a lot better than what the standard blood test used to show, because the standard ones, they would finally pop up something like out of range when the kidneys are already like 50 to 75% shot. And then by then there's some things you can do, but there's not a ton of stuff that you can do. But I see the chat's having a ball with my gibberish talking. But anyways, again, kidney disease and hyperthyroidism, they can mask each other and they can be very similar. So a person might think, hey, it's hyperthyroidism, but in fact, it's kidney disease. And the scary thing with kidney disease, there are some supplements. So there's this one supplement that we've had, even though Zelda doesn't have kidney disease, we just feel like her age, she's 19 and she's been on it for a while. It's called like I think it's renal failure, a renal supplement. You can find it on Amazon. Wife, if you're listening to me still, what is that supplement that we have for her? For Zelda, I think it's called like renal supplement, renal failure disease, renal something. And we've been giving it to her for a while, just in case. But, the thing with kidney disease is it's not like you can get your kidneys back, right? Once they start failing, or once they start kind of shutting down, there's no, they can't like be reversed. Hyperthyroidism, you have ways of reversing it, right? And there's something that can be done with that. You have options. Diabetes, let me put what Jess is putting up here. So at some point, the kidneys are so bad that sub-Q fluids themselves, they don't get absorbed anymore. Yeah, exactly. George, that was Rosemary that you heard. Diabetes is manageable. Diabetes is not a death sentence. In fact, sometimes with diabetes, actually, depending on the cat, and sometimes depending on the excuse me, the insulin, it is possible, just like with humans, that the diabetes can be reversed, where the kitty or doggy doesn't have diabetes anymore, and that their body starts to produce insulin naturally again, and they don't need to get shots anymore. It doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. Kidney disease, unfortunately, once you start down that road, you can slow the disease. You can do things that help. The two biggest things are the type of food. It's CF food. I think I'm remembering that correctly. I think it's called CF food. It's either CF or CN food. It's more of a specialized food where it helps. I'm trying to think, remember here, and just correct me if I'm wrong, because like I said, I know you've been in this field with cats. Um, it's food that kind of helps not reverse, but kind of helps break down stuff better for the kidneys. It makes it like easier for the kidneys to do its job, because the kidneys have a very important job, right? You know, they filter things, so the filtration system in your body. And once that starts to go, you really are having difficulties. Yeah. So um, this is what I was talking about for the. I'll get to that. So yeah, here. So RX vitamin for cats, renal, feline. So that's the supplement that we have on Zelda. Was what my wife posted there. So Tranquil, my mother is in kidney failure. Asked her specialist what to do to prevent it. He said that you either outlive your kidneys or you don't. It's going to happen eventually with age. Yeah, eventually everybody's going to have some kidney disease issues. Um, Jess is saying only food that is low in protein. And then Jennifer, my Cleo has FLUTD, but it hasn't affected her kidney. She's doing great on her prescription food. Awesome, Jennifer. And Jennifer, with 5 cats, do you have to feed her separately then, I'm assuming? And then if that is the case, do you not have any dry food down for the others, or are they fed without dry food, without like free feeding? Just let us know, Jennifer, with that if you want to. Um, Quick story on kidney disease. So we had a cat named Kitty, very original name, right? Our first 2 cats were Kitty and Kitten, very, very original names. um, Kitty eventually developed kidney disease. Now, because my wife and I are very stubborn cat parents and believe in fighting for our kitties as much as possible, and maybe too much, possibly. Kitty was a weird cat. Kitty never ate or never liked wet food. Now that's unusual to me, right? Most cats they eat up wet food like it's like it's just going out of style. They'll eat it up in a second, right? Most cats, not all. And unfortunately, we were recommended wet food to give her, special wet food. Um, and her not eating wet food, well, that's a challenge, right? That's a problem. So what did we do? We wound up force feeding her, syringing her food. Now, let me see what Jennifer is saying. She had to monitor feeding times, and I don't leave food out, which has helped keeping their heavier cats' weight down. Yeah. Jennifer, we'd love to do that ourselves, but our cats have trained us well, and we just have food down. We love to change it, but unfortunately, just right now, we just can't. I think we would have a mutiny on our hands if we picked up our dry food, but maybe one day. But anyways, so like I was saying with Kitty, we wound up having to syringe feed her. Now, I don't know who has experienced syringe feeding or force feeding cats before or not, but it ain't easy. Especially she was a calico. Now, those who know calico cats, they know that they can be, again, a little spicy, or they can be a little multi-personalities, split personality types. They can love you and then they can bite you in the same second, it seems like. But because, we loved Kitty and we wanted to selfishly, I will say, keep her around as long as we could. We fed her for over a year by force feeding or syringe feeding her every 2 hours during the day, basically from 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning, all the way to 8, 9, 10 o'clock at nights. Every 2 hours, she would get food in her because we thought, well, her quality of life is still high enough, right? And that's another topic for another day, quality of life, kind of like when to know when it's time. Your cat usually will tell you when it's time. But, her thing was, that her quality of life was still high enough, we thought, besides just not eating the food, that um we just thought it was still the right thing to do, and we did that for a year and a half. It wasn't easy, but it's something we had to do. I mean, eventually she lost her battle and she let us know when it was time. And that was tough because, that was a time where we lost three of our kitties in 6 months. She was the last of the three that passed on in that 6 month time frame. But it was just time. So on kidney disease, food is very important. A supplement is important. Making sure that they get that food in them is very important. It's just kidney disease is a hard one because you can't do much about it. You can't reverse it. Let me see what Anu is saying here. And Tranquil, yeah, you completely understand. My cat Coco got seriously ill 2 years ago because she ate canned food. My doctor told me strictly not to give them canned food. Yeah, it's then Jennifer used to keep food out with a prescription, but I wasn't able to anymore. The people complained here too at first. Yeah, the kitties they had a mutiny, but they got over it, right? But what was I saying? I think out of these three diseases, I think kidney disease is the hardest one to accept because accepting the fact that you can't do anything about it and understanding that you're watching this kitty that you love, slowly but surely lose weight and the quality of life slowly but surely drop. And knowing eventually you're going to probably have to make that choice. That's what's best for the kitty, and where their quality of life is not high anymore. It's just not acceptable anymore. And then you got to make that decision is the tough one. I think pretty much everybody on here, or at least as far as I know, most on here have had to make that decision for their cat before. And it is the hardest part, but it is the most important part. And it is like the last act of kindness. The last act of kindness as a cat parent or as a dog parent that you can do for your kitty or for your doggy, to put them out of any whatever suffering that they might have, and not to be not to selfishly hang on to them. Because I think with Kitty, we probably maybe did that a little too much. We probably hung on a little too much, and she might have suffered a little bit unnecessarily because of it. And that's just a difficult thing to accept. But so anyways, that's the hard part. Okay. Let me get on very, 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 very quickly out of those very difficult topics. Got about 20 minutes, so I want to keep on rolling here. Very quickly, so just cat behavior. I'm going to hit these out pretty quickly. And in the chat, you let me know, what do you think when a kitty rolls around, or especially like our humongous tuxedo friend here that I know a lot of people like. So I'm trying to keep them in my channel, on this channel, as much as possible. Our humongous tuxedo friend, when they're rolling around and when they're showing their belly, why do you think that? Why do you think that is? What do you think? Because this is kind of like some cat behaviors, some like common cat behaviors, and reason why. Yeah, Jess. So worried that some of them get to, and I'll give a few moments in the chat to see why do we think, why do we think we do that? Let me put this up on the screen. So from Anu, Coco got an intestinal problem and a bloody poop. I took him to the vet, and after 11 days treatment, he got good. Good. That's good to hear, Anu. Good to hear. L George is my dog. Also does that. Ray is saying because they are silly. Jennifer is because it's trust. El George is because I'm all yours. Yeah. So pretty much, when you have a cat or dog, when they show that that belly, that's their most sensitive. Not sensitive. That's not the right word. That's their most. I'm losing my mind today. I can't think of what word I want to say with some of these things. That's them being as much. It's a trust factor, like Jennifer's saying, like Jess is saying. It's their most vulnerable. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Ray. Thank goodness for this chat. Picking me up here with these words. Yeah, it's being most vulnerable. So when you have a cat or a dog show their belly, it's definitely, they completely trust you, because that is their most vulnerable, soft underbelly area. Definitely. So yeah. All right. How about this next one? Oh, you're using that. And then we have the kitty here. Our humongous tuxedo is basically laying on everything. Why do we think our kitties, and I don't know if dogs do this as much or not, but I definitely know cats do. Why do you think that goes on? What's the reason? What's the explanation of this particular cat behavior? Sorry if I sniffed in your ears. I think Ray from the last one is saying sometimes it's a trap. Yeah, you go in there, you pet their belly, then the next thing you know, you're missing skin. Jennifer is because they're saying pay attention to me. Joe is saying that Jack does that all the time. Ray is saying because the reason is F you. Yeah, cats are jerks sometimes. I will openly, absolutely admit that. The cats are jerks sometimes. Yes, I agree. But yeah, it's basically, they're wanting sometimes, like Jennifer is saying, that they'll, they want attention. And also cats, they have this thing where basically everything belongs to them, right? And part of that reason too is they're wanting to mark that property, mark the desk, or the laptop or the phone or whatever. They're wanting to mark it. They're wanting to scent it with their pheromones. So then that's marking that as them, as not as them, as their own, as like, this is mine kind of thing. So, but yeah, I agree with what y'all are saying in the chat. Okay, let me go to the next one. How about this one? So knocking things off. Hello there, Luis. Thanks for popping in, friend. We got Luis. You're catching kind of the tail end here a little bit, but we still got some good stuff to go through. I appreciate you coming in. We had a pretty heavier discussion earlier, Luis, about some very deadly potential diseases. But it was a good conversation. So, if you're interested, then you can always watch the replay and, check it out, listen to it if you want, of course. Yeah, Jess, I wanted to somehow keep the humongous tuxedo in here somehow on this channel. So this is my way of think of doing it. So yeah. So kitties, why do kitties knock things off? As you can see on this picture, obviously they're knocking us humans, off of the flat Earth. To your flat earthers out there. And let's see. So Jess is saying that that's just being a jerk. Yeah, basically. Um, Jennifer, that it's just maybe a game. My wife is saying that Pandora is telling us that she is not amused. Yeah, I think sometimes with this one, it is just, I mean, I hate to say it, being a cat, parent and a cat lover, but cats just are sometimes just jerks. So, I don't know. I don't know on this one necessarily. I just think they just like knocking things off sometimes. Oh, hello, Raf. Thanks for popping in, Raf. Raf, we got about another 15, 20 minutes on here. I appreciate you popping in. I hope you had a good time with your family. I did get your message from earlier. Real quick question here from Anu. Is chicken liver, I would say yes. Anu, chicken liver is safe for cats. Yes, it's got to be cooked though. But yes, I chicken liver is fine for kitties. Let me take that off. But anyways, yes, cats are jerks. They're lovable jerks though, but sometimes they can be jerks. Okay, let me get on to the next one. All right, so taking a sip. What this basically means, it might be a little bit hard to kind of figure out with these pictures, is kind of taking a sip from a sink or taking a sip from a toilet. I actually created an AI image where I had the cat, the humongous tuxedo, drinking out of a toilet. But I'm like, I don't know. Maybe that'll be funny, but maybe that would be a kind of overboard a bit. So I decided instead this cat is drinking out of, I guess, this lake or something. But yeah, why do we think we do this? These kitties, why do we drink out of the sink or drink out of the toilet potentially? Drink out of areas that we shouldn't necessarily. What do we think the reason is for that? Yes, Ray, it was a very big toilet, but I thought it'd be better just for this picture, I think. Let's see. Jennifer, my girls love drinking from the sink. I think they like the fresh water. Tranquil, my cat Daria always wanted to drink from my mother's glass. So again, with this one, it's kind of weird. So it kind of goes to instinct a little bit again. I think that's why cats prefer to drink, and this isn't all cats, of course, but cats tend to prefer to drink out of running water or water that they perceive as like fresh, like a faucet, water fountains. Beside, the ones that have the water moving, right, for the cats, compared to just like a bowl. Not all cats, of course. But it gets back to instinctual stuff. Cats are. It's amazing how cats are. They're like, they have all these instincts from their ancestors, but they also are domesticated. So it's a weird mixture. But their ancestors, of course, they would normally drink from not all, of course, but they would drink from streams, running ponds, something where you had movement going. Excuse me. And just these cats of today, I think they have inherited still that kind of thinking, and it's just kind of like hardwired into them. Let me see. We had one thought it fun to drink from the faucet. Yeah. Raf is found in Alice and Pearl Jam. Prefer warm water over cold water. Interesting, Raf. It's interesting. Yeah. Is it room temperature, Raf, or warm? That's kind of an odd one. All right. Let me get on to the next one since I got, I think, a couple more. Okay. I love this picture, by the way. Let me take this off. So this is where it might be kind of hard to see exactly what's going on with this cat, but I like this picture because to me, twitchy tails, right? So, you've seen your cats probably like really move their tail back and forth, like rapidly. So I thought this image really portrayed that. Now I came up with some scary images actually that were a little frightening, a little creepy pasta style, and I thought this was the best one. But I thought this accurately displayed a cat having a twitchy tail, really rapidly going back and forth. So, but in chat, why do you think cats have these twitchy tails? Why are we moving their tails back and forth? Because you're all seeing that, I'm sure, where that tail is going like a million miles a second. Yes, Luis, it does look like a spider. One of the images that popped up, it actually, on all of its tails, it had like 9 tails or whatever, right? 12 tails, and they had heads on them. They had like cat heads on them. So I'm like, yeah, it's like Medusa or something. Like, let's not do this. Let's not do this. So John, back on the drinking one. Cats love a drinking fountain, but they love pond water. Yeah, it's weird, John. I agree. It is weird. But what are people saying? So Raph is saying maybe there's a bird that they spot like in a window. Jennifer is saying that they're excited and or happy. Yeah, Luis, maybe I'll pop in. Maybe I'll show some of those in a community post. I'll show the pictures that didn't make the cut, and you all can see them. Jess is saying that Turok twitches a lot, like something is biting him, but he won't look. He won't let me look at it. And then Luis, Luis is saying, I think they're trying to learn. Yeah, so usually with this like this tail twitching stuff, it can be excitement, it can be happy, it can be looking at birds, Raph. It could also mean stay out of my way. If you got a cat whose tail is really going off, then they're like hyper focused or hyper energetic. So they might kind of lunge at you. So just keep on walking. Now, if there's a cat fight about to happen, obviously try to break it up. But anyways, okay. Let's see. What do we had? About 10 minutes or so. So we're good on time. Is there any general questions? We have one more thing. I know we have 2 more things. So does anybody have any questions before we get into the last 2 pieces, the last 2 segments of today's live? And I do appreciate you all hanging in with me, and I appreciate your chat, and I hope that y'all have been learning something, having a laugh, and also learning something also. And I definitely have been learning from y'all too. So, but does anybody have any cat-related questions at the moment? And I'll give a few moments for that. Okay, it's not looking like we have any questions. And if we do, just let me know. All right, so the next little segment are cat channels, awesome cat channels and awesome creators. Now, I think everybody pretty much knows this list. So I add something each week. I add new channels and I do it in alphabetical order. So I'm not going to talk too much about the folks that are on here. And I got to change this one, the top one, because it's not more 4 cats anymore. It's, what is it, 4 cat billies in a shack, I think, or something like that. So anyways, so just some cat channels, some more cat channels. Again, if you don't know these cat channels, check them out. If you want a link to like these cat channels, just let me know in the chat. Just tell me like what person you may not know, and I can Ray, you don't know AYU Kahu channel is a channel that's out in Indonesia. So I can send a link to you, Ray, and I can send. So what I'll do is when I'm done with this live, I will just thank you all for being in here, and then I will send out a link to these channels if interested. So any other channel in here? All right. How about this one here? Is there any? I think everybody probably knows these channels. We have Cat for Channels in here right now. We had Cat Friends Bailey in here earlier, and yeah. So if there's anybody on here, just let me know, and I will. When this is over, I will post the community link, or I will do a community post, and I will put these channel links up there for y'all to check out if you know if you want to. So Caddy and Friends. Okay. I'll write that one down. Caddy and Friends. Okay. And I'm going to go on to the next one. These are all old channels. And what I mean by old channels, I spoke about these channels already. And then we'll get some new ones on the next slide. And then we'll do the Name Your Pet, and then we'll be done. Cats in Counseling. Cats in Counseling. I will get to Jess. I'll put that one up also. And these are all channels that I am subscribed to myself and have known for a little while, so I can kind of vouch for these ones. We haven't quite because these are in alphabetical order. Tranquil, you'll actually see that on the next one. Luis, the last one, Ferkland Cats DIY. I will put that one too. I would definitely recommend checking out that one. It's a really cool cat channel. They do a lot of interesting shorts and some good videos. All right, so I think that's everybody for now. So this next one, this is a new list, a new group, if you will. Some of these might look familiar. Some of them might not. So Foster Kitten and Friends, again, they have cute cats, right? I mean, that's kind of the thread with all these, but they have cute cats. They have some cool videos. I'm only going to talk a few sentences for both of them, and on to the next one just for time. Gina, Beans, and Tootsie. I think a lot of people know. It's something that Tranquil mentioned just a few moments ago. Definitely highly recommend that one with Tootsie. Tootsie has some funny voices, and just that's a good channel. Happy is, I think it's a one cat channel. It's a orange tabby. A very cute tabby, some very just cute shorts and videos. Hoist, let me write these two down. Hoist, and it's Windsor. It's Windsor. So Hoist Kong. I can't say the last name properly. This channel is out of Germany. This is about a Paul. Paul is the kitty's name, and he's an adorable tuxedo. Very cute channel. It's Windsor is another, like, it's just one. It's one cat. Its cat's name is Windsor. And again, I would recommend checking that channel out. And I'll put these links on here, like I said, in the community post, so y'all can check out these channels. I got them all written down. And then the last group, or the last channel on here is actually, I don't know if we're in here still or not, but if we are, is Joe with Jack and Bob. You know, obviously there's Jack and there's Bob. Two tuxedo kitties. Yeah, Tom and Mimi, Judy, I will get to when I get to the T's. And Tango, I also get to, because I have both those channels when I get to the T's. That could be a little while because I'm only doing like one slide at a time with these channels. But Jack and Bob is the newest one. Jack is in here, or Joe, I should say, if she's still in here now. She's another good supporter. But anyway, so those are kind of some new ones. Like I said, I'm doing one of these, like kind of like one slide a week. So about every week is about a new, like 5 or 6 cat channels. Neffy Cat also, Luis Neffy Cat is on my list. I'm subscribed to that channel, so I'll get to that one when we get into the ends. I like Neffy Cat and their whatchamacallit, their voiceovers, and they always have like a good inspirational story to tell. also with Nephew Cat. So I do like Nephew Cat also, Luis. That's another good one that I'll get to once I get to the end. So like I said, alphabetical order. And I'm also always putting in new ones too. Like last week, I have a couple of new ones that people told me about. MD Vids. Who else was it? MD Vids. And oh shoot. There was a channel that was from Turkey that John was telling me about. I can't think of the name right now. Suba Derma. Luis, yeah, absolutely. Feel free to drop a link. Go ahead. But anyways, yeah. And then there was one that Tranquil gave me also that I can't think of it was something white. I have it. White cat guardian. Thank you, Tranquil. I have them on also now in my subscription list. And once I get to the ends, I'll talk about them too. But anyways, we're almost done. Now the last part is the name that I was going to say name that cat, but then I had some dogs in here too. But now I just have name your family member. That just seems more right to me because right, these cats and these dogs are family members, right? They're just not a pet. They're a family member. At least that's how I look at it, and I think that's how most of y'all look at it too. These are our family members. These are our fur babies. So it just felt right calling them family members instead of like cat or dog. Now, again, like I said in the beginning of this. Judy Paws and Tells is also a good channel with Megan, and Megan's had some tough time recently with obviously Lulu passing on, and oh gosh, what was the other kitty's name that had possibly breast cancer? Peppy, I think it was. Not sure, but anyway, so we're gonna get into the name that family member now. Like I said in the beginning of this live, because a lot of people gave me a lot of photos, which I wanted. You may not see every single channel on here. I didn't know how long I was going to talk about those diseases today. I figured it was going to be a little long, and I figured I was probably going to go over on time. So I have 5 channels. I have 5 pictures here of cats and potential dogs. Now, if your particular if you submitted a photo to me and you don't see your kitty or your doggy, it's okay because they'll be on it next week. There's going to be kind of like a rotation. Every week there'll be new pictures on here. So the way this works is you have to name the pet, name the pet. You have to name the cat or name the dog. If it happens to be your kitty or your doggy, your family member, you can't participate because it'd be cheating, right? You automatically are going to know who they are, right? So I just thought this would be kind of fun for this cat community and dog, Bert and Rev, if you're still on here. Pepper. Okay, Pepper. So this is going to be, there's going to be 5. And let's see how we do as a group. Yeah, John, so it's not cat pictures. It's not guess the cat. It's name the family member now. So because they're dogs and eventually there might be other things. But let's get to the first one. So who is this? Just remember, if this is your particular kitty or doggy, just do not answer because that would be cheating. So name this cat. Who is this cat? I'll give a few moments in the chat, obviously, to let people pile up some guesses. All right, so Jennifer is saying, or kind of asking, saying, is that Alice? Luis is going with Alice. Bert is going with Alice. Excuse me. L. George is saying, I know, but I forgot. Of course, Ray is going with Garfield. No, he's going with Normal. Jess is going with Alice. And George is going, must be Alice. Okay, so let's reveal. And it is Alice. And Alice is obviously from the Alice and Pearl Jam channel. which is hosted by Ray, which is hosted by Raph, who is a great channel and does a lot of cool videos. So congratulations there with y'all. You picked Alice, and it was Alice. Now, this next one, I don't think anybody is going to get. Yeah. So, John, it's just one photo, but because you all sent so many photos, some of you, it's going to last longer. So that's why I wanted you to, if you could send as many photos as possible. But it's just going to be one photo at a time. All right. No, never mind. I think people, never mind. I was wrong. Yeah, so it's the next one that I don't think anybody's going to get. So who is this? What kitty is this? Name this kitty. And just remember, if you are still with us and it happens to be a kitty who lives with you, or you live with them, depending on your perspective, you just can't answer. All right, Machiko, let me just put this up real quickly. Everyone, I will see you soon. My street dogs are waiting for me. See you again. Love you. Please watch my channel. Absolutely, Machiko. Anu, have a wonderful night, and we'll see you later, Anu. All right, let me get to some of the guesses because I know people have been guessing here. Raph is thinking midnight. Luke is thinking, or L. George is thinking Luke. Judy is thinking Smokey. LG, I'll just call you LG since I just saw that. So LG is thinking that. Ray is thinking Itzer. Luis is thinking Darkness. John is thinking Alice. People are saying goodbye to Anu. Jennifer is not sure. LG is not sure. It looks like my cats. Let me see if there's any more guesses. Bert is saying Professor Midnight. Jess is saying Halloween. And Ray, okay. All right, so let's see if anybody got it right. Let's reveal. Oops. So this was Ravenpoe from the 4 Cat Billies in Virginia Mountain Shack. So Raph he was kind of the closest because he named one of John's kitties in Itzerman, but he was not correct though on the kitty. But he was close to the channel. But that's Ravenpoe from John, or from the 4 Cat Billies in a Virginia Mountain Shack. And also, what I wanted to do, John, you might recognize this shot. I was looking online because I know you live in the and I'm terrible with names, so I apologize. The Shenandoah. Man, I can't believe I was a teacher. I can't pronounce anything today. Anyways, that valley, the S Valley you live in. So maybe you recognize that shot. I don't know. It said it's from that valley that you live in. So hopefully it actually is from that valley, and maybe you recognize that shot. It's a beautiful country, beautiful area, John. You live in a very, very nice. Let's see, Bird is breaking it down for me. That might be helpful. The Shenandoah Valley. Okay. I appreciate that, Bert. I might need that help. Okay. Hey, Black Widow. Thanks for popping in. Black Widow, we're kind of towards the end here, but what we're doing right now is the name your pet, name your family member part. We've already done a couple, but we got a few more to do. So I appreciate you hanging in here or popping in here with me, with us. Okay. Man, I can't talk. All right. Now, I guarantee nobody is going to get this one. Nobody is going to get this one. This is a doggy because it's family members, and we can have dogs and cats, and eventually I'll open it up to bunny rabbits and turtles, and Patty can have her turtle on here, and lizards, and who knows what else, bearded dragon, so forth. But what is the name of this doggy? I don't think anybody's going to get this one though. I wouldn't know this one myself because I've never seen this dog before, but maybe somebody would get lucky with the name. Bye, Luis. Thank you for popping in, Luis. Have a good, wonderful night and have a good supper, and we will see you next time. Take care, friends. Say hello to your 5 kitties from me and from everybody else. So let's see. So far, some of the names we got. Snuffles. I love this one, Joe. We got Lord Huntington. Let's see. Hello there, John. Thanks for popping in, friend. John, we are just doing the name name that family member. So I am showing pictures that people have shown, or people that have given to me like throughout the week, and the goal of it is trying to name that dog or that cat. Let's see. Jess is saying Peanut. Ray is saying the dog's name is Mr. Bigglesworth. I will give a quick clue. I'll give a very quick clue. It does start with the letter B. I'll give 2 clues, but nobody's still going to get this. I'll give 2 clues. The dog's name starts with the letter B, and it has 5 letters to it. So it starts with B, and it's got 5 letters to it. And I'll give a few more guesses, and then we'll move on because it is past 6 o'clock, and I got a few more photos to show here. All right. John, Canadian John, I will say, because we have 2 Johns in here, is Mr. Brown. Ray with Bingo. Jennifer with Bobby. Bert with Bling. You can imagine some bling on this dog, got like a gold chain out there. That's funny. Okay, I'm going to reveal this one because ain't nobody going to get this. Ain't nobody going to guess this dog's name. All right. This doggy's name is Beta. And Beta is from Anne Haynes. She was on a little earlier, and she had to go because it's way out there because she lives out on the other side of the world. And I wanted to show a picture. I'm sure she's been here. This is in Istanbul, Turkey, or Turkey, right? So that's Beta, and that is from Anne. So yeah, and this is a picture, like I said, beautiful picture, I think, actually, of Turkey. You can see the water. There's some boats there. I think this is maybe a mosque. I'm not sure exactly, obviously, but that's I didn't think anybody was going to get that one. I didn't know who that dog was myself. But anyways, that's that one. I'm going to move on to the next one. I think there's 2 more. So who's this kitty? What do we think this kitty's name is? Kitty's got a bit of a smug, a little bit of a smug face going on. It's like, yeah, you're taking my picture. Let me look good. Got like a little smile going on. Like, yeah, that's what's up. I kind of like this picture, actually. It's a cute picture. All right, let me see some of the guesses that are starting to pop on here. So Judy has pumpkin. I could kind of see pumpkin, I mean, it kind of got some pumpkin kind of colors to it. Raph is saying Cleo. Ray is saying that the kitty's name is Skeeter. He has a lip full of dip. Okay. Jess is saying Bojangles. Interesting. I'll give a few more moments, and then we'll reveal the name of this kitty. See if we'll get a few more guesses on here. Everybody could be done guessing though also. All right, so and I know there's always a bit of a delay usually with these lives, like a 10-15 second delay. So, but I'm going to reveal who this is and see who got it right, because there was one right answer. Somebody did get this kitty's name correct, and it is Cleo from Jennifer Morales. Hopefully I said that last name correct for you, Jennifer. Jennifer Morales, Feline Films. So that was Cleo. So not Jess. Raph, you got that answer correct. You knew that kitty's name. And I just kind of like this little picture here. I don't know, for whatever reason, Jennifer, with your like your channel name with Feline Films, it just reminded me. Oh, and I said it correctly. Awesome. I've been saying so many things wrong here. uh, let me see. So what am I saying? What was I saying? Oh yeah. So with your channel name here. So Black Widow, there's a clip, but it's music, so don't play it. Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna play it anyways. Classic TV theme. Oh, okay. I got that's a good one there. A man called Shandon Doe. I'm gonna say that name again correct and screwed up. But anyways, Jennifer. What am I saying? The reason I like this picture is just with the name Feline Films. It kind of like I'm thinking like a cat, right? Like a director, and they have like the little card here, and they got like the little cat. Anyway, I just thought it was kind of cute for your channel. I kind of like that little AI image. Anyways, okay. I think there's one more. Who is this? I think this is the last one. I just stuck with 5 because I didn't know how long it was going to take to get through the topics. And like I said earlier, there'll be some rotation. So if you did send me a picture, I appreciate everybody who sent me pictures in. And if you didn't see your potential your kitty or doggo today, you will see them next week. I promise, guaranteed. All right, let's see. People are already starting to guess, and I'm seeing a lot of the same name here. Ray is going with Grace. Bert is saying Grace. Raph is saying Grace. Judy is saying Grace. Jess is saying Grace. Sean is saying Grace. And Jennifer is saying Grace. So we're either all correct or we're all wrong. Let's reveal. And yes, that is Grace. And obviously from Machiku, Anu, our friend Anu, who signed off a little early because I know it's late out there in India. And so, yes, Bert, everybody's saying Grace. It's almost time to eat. So again, the picture, I don't know. When I was doing this one for Anu, I thought of Bless, because Bless's passing was still tough, just with his age and gosh, what happened to him was just hard with his FIP situation. And I just thought Rainbow Bridge. And I thought this was really a cool image. You have a couple of rainbows and, it's kind of like a bridge, right? And I don't know, you can see there's like some different animals that are like walking past it or walking across it. I just thought that was a really cool image. And I just wanted to share that image with everybody. So I just like that image. It's really pretty to me. But that is it for today. Yeah, and then just some of my kitties. So that is it for today. Again, as always, I appreciate everybody being on here. Let me see if I can remember everybody who is on here. I got LG, I got Jess, I got John, I got the other John if he's still on here. I got Bert, I got Joe, I got Ray, I got Jennifer, Judy, Raph. If I'm missing you, please let me know. Black Widow. And I don't know if there's anybody else on here, but I do appreciate y'all being on here. Again, we will do this again next week. I hope that you enjoyed the show. I hope that you enjoyed this Name Your Family Member segment. If you haven't emailed me, uh, if you haven't emailed me, oh, what am I trying to say? If you haven't emailed me like any pictures of your doggies or kitties or animals, please do. I'll put a community post up again, and I will just say, hey, if you want to send me any pictures, this is the email to send them to. I will put in the right email. And but anyways, I appreciate all your time. Have a good night. And I hope that you have a good one. Remember to hug your kitty or hug your dottie, hug your doggy. And yeah, I will get these channels. I wrote down that y'all may, some of you don't know. I will get them out in a community post. And Joe, again, I appreciate your you for being here, Joe. And everybody for welcoming Joe warmly and kindly as I knew y'all would. And yeah, I guess that's it. So take care. Peace out. Love y'all. Till next Sunday, as far as these lives go. Take care. Till next time.